Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about starting over. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, starting over. That is a concept we are focusing on today. And I have Sean here who's going to help us think about this so we can think about it in a different way. So, Sean, when you hear the word starting over, what does that make you think about?
This year has been a big year for starting over. I'm 55, and there's a lot of things going on. I'm big on the number 11, and so I thought, ooh, 55 would be a monumental year in my life. I had no idea that it was going to be this much change. I separated from my fiance in January. Things went bad in February, but I realized that that relationship was over, and I had to start over after a long term situation and kind of rebuild and decide what direction I was going to go in. I think I had two options. I mean, I think the realization that there was no longer us, it was me. What was I going to do? And I decided to spiral upwards. Honestly, these last few months have been all about self care, self worth, rebuilding, um, trying to find me again, thinking about the direction I'm going, working on physical, exercise, walking the dog every day, new job, new life, new, aspirations on the horizon with a new book coming out, creative projects bubbling. I'm literally in a hotel room in Texas because I wanted to go to a drive-in last night. So I came down and I'm here and I just doing things on my own, out of my comfort zone that I normally wouldn't do. I'm all about that right now. So rebuilding is a process, but it's slow and steady and going in the right direction. I think that's I look at that as positive.
That's good. I thank you for just being honest with the fact that it's slow and steady. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you have all these differences and all these objectives, a way of taking care of yourself and refocusing your mind from us to me, because that's a
Sure.
big leap. And a lot of people don't recognize that you have to grieve, you have to move on, you have to move forward and reposition your perspective after that time frame that someone commits for so long with somebody else, and having that time to refocus on yourself and have that self-care is vital because it comes back to what do I want to do? What does Sean want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do I love? Because some people get so lost in catering for others for so long that they forget what they even like. You know what I mean? They're so used to
I had
being
forgotten who I was. I was in a relationship with a narcissist, and I've only learned that after the fact of realizing what happened and what was this relationship about, and why did it end the way it did. And it was a realization that it's a lot of learning. It's a huge learning curve, and I realized I could go two directions. I could spiral downwards, which was easy. Drug and alcohol was plentiful, and I could woe is me and go that route, and that was no problem. But I decided I was going to go the other way and just not allow um, allow it to beat me down. But I did realize I was starting from scratch again, and where was I going to go, and what was I going to do, and that's been an uplifting to realize where I was, say, February to now, which is middle of August, is pretty amazing, and I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about day to day things. Little things spark me in ways that I forgot about. Buying these and music that I used to listen to and putting it in the car and driving. Just little goofball things that I went to a place called Casino El Camino last night and had a just because I could, because I walked down the street and went and enjoyed it. And they played a song on the jukebox that just sparked some memory for me. And it was just like, oh, I forgot. I love Austin and I love certain little enclaves in the city, and yeah, just doing things that make you happy. It the littlest things, but it means so much right now. So I'm seeking that out, and not necessarily trying to patch it up with someone else or diving into a relationship with someone else. It's more of that will come in time. And anytime I think I've learned that lesson, if you look for it, you never find it. It's when you're not looking for it that you connect with somebody. So I'm not really focused on that. So I'm focused on where I'm going and what I'm doing and what's
That's
happening
the
to me.
that's the best part because I realize when you do that, when you are just walking, just doing yourself, enjoying yourself, and just basking in your own ambience, you really do can encounter somebody who's doing the same thing, and it's just it blends together where it's effortless. It doesn't even feel like it's forced, and if it happens, it's a beautiful thing, blessing to have once again in your life. But if it doesn't, at least you can be happy knowing that you can make yourself happy again. You can enjoy life again. You can do what brings you joy and connect with people in different manners and explore your true potential and how far you can really go, because sometimes we are stuck in survival mode when we're in a toxic relationship for so long that I could absolutely understand how spiraling down seems like an easy cop out, you know what I mean? Because that's the first thing that many people do. But to spiral up, to change that perspective and flip the switch, I mean, that is an amazing, even more thing to do, because people don't get applauded or even acknowledged for choosing the right route. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just expect people to choose the right route or expect people to fall, but they don't acknowledge people when they're doing right, because they just expect people to fall. So I applaud you for just doing the right thing and just finding you again and relearning who you are as an individual, because so many people are afraid of starting over. Why do you think people are afraid of starting over?
It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of getting out of your comfort zone has been a big deal to me. If I think, oh, I'm not doing that, then I have to do it. That kind of mindset. I went down to the pool yesterday and went on my own and sat and read a book. That's something I would have never done in any kind of hotel environment ever. But I was like, it's crazy hot here. Why not? And ended up talking to some people and enjoying the moment, and just thought that's something that I wouldn't have done 6 months ago, a year ago. Just wouldn't. It wasn't me. But now I'm like purposely seeking those kind of things out to, oh yeah, that's something I wouldn't do. Even coming here on my own to go to a drive-in, and it sounds like an odd thing to do, but I was like, I want to do it. And it was my, I work in a bar, so my weekends are the middle of the week. So even getting used to that mindset of Wednesday, Thursday are my days off. So that's kind of one of my, and I wanted to do this random thing, and did it and had a great time. So it's just finding things like that are important. But yeah, getting out of your comfort zone, and I think it's a fear of the unknown. I mean, I grew up in a military family, moved all my life, so I was always the new guy, always having to start over, growing up that way,
Yeah.
and I always thought it was a burden, but I realized that was just the life. Those were the cards I was dealt. That was the life I was going to live. How best can I make that work? And a lot of times, honestly, people don't really care what you do. So you have to care what you do. You have to care about
Yes.
yourself, and you have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt to say, yeah, I can make these choices, or take these chances. Failure is fine. I'm on a first name basis with failure. We get along fine, but that doesn't mean I have to let it beat me down. I try again, pick up the pieces of salvage and move on. I don't know any other way to live life, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely agree. I understand where you're coming from because I moved around a lot growing up. It's not because I come from a military family. I come from a broke family. So moving around a lot was just something that we just did. So being the new kid was something that I had to learn to adapt to. So when you said that you realize that people don't really care about you, you come and go with the wind sometimes. So
Yeah,
it's just like it's about what matters in your heart, what matters with how you see the world and how you choose to see the world, because you have to take that point where you have to choose for yourself how you're going to view the world. You know what I mean? And when you take that initiative, man, it's truly life changing, because going forward, your decisions, your actions, your thought process starts to change as well, which
yeah,
is like a ripple effect in your life. And then people start to notice it. And then they're like, you know what? If that person can do it, then I can do too. And I think that's the meaning behind it starts with you. You know what I mean? That's the meaning behind if you want to change the world, change yourself. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it
Sure.
goes back to that initiative, to that self-reflection. So I'm curious. I would like to know your thoughts, since I'm a quote girl and I love quotes. I have a quote here that I would like to pick your brain on. So the quote goes, life is a process, just one thing after another. When you lose it, just start again. What are your thoughts on that quote?
I think it's always a growing, there, it's full of dead ends and false starts and fool's gold, but you just keep going. And I find
Yeah.
a lot in my life that you, you also never know. So there could be things that they seem like a dead end, but are actually really positive places to be in life too. So life is so fragile and so short. And I'm at an age now where friends have died, family members have died, and you realize that it's a finite amount of time, and there is no end point till it's over. So what are you going to do with the time that you have? That's kind of how I look at that quote. Is like it's up to you to decide time you have here. It's so fragile and precious and can be gone just like that. And you'll get reminders of that all the time. And I'm always on the lookout for signposts or things that are telling me I'm going in the right direction, but also that things are happening in life to be aware of. I had a work colleague who, we were working on a Friday and he went home and had a stroke that night. It was just shocking when I saw him after my weekend to go, "Hey, how was your weekend?" And I had this amazing time in San Antonio. Was at a film festival, won an award. So excited to tell, "Hey, I just had this amazing thing happen to me." And he's like, "Oh, guess what happened to me?" And I was just kind of in shock at what he went through. And it just, to me, realized how things can turn on a dime so fast. So
Yeah,
um,
you never
to just be
know.
grateful for the time you have. And yeah, starting over is not the worst thing that can happen, honestly. Sometimes it may seem hard, but it also leads to better things. I wouldn't go back at all now. I'm
Yeah,
it I'm it's goofy to whine about a relationship. That seems ridiculous, but it it did mean so much to me, and it's somebody I still think about. But I also know I wouldn't go back to that situation because I know there's no back to go to. Like it just wouldn't. There's no rebuilding, and what I have in mind is the thoughts of what I wanted a good relationship to be, and I still have that idea in my head. So everything's forward, and starting over is not the end of the world. It's a beginning of a whole new one.
exactly. It's the beginning of a whole new one. It's like if you are sitting on the floor and you're just getting up. That's basically what it is. Just get up, just stand up from where the position that you're in. Because sometimes starting, like when we hit rock bottom, we feel stuck, we feel like trapped, we feel all these negative emotions. But in reality, it's like you just stopped. You just stopped walking. All you got to do is just continue to walk and you'll eventually see a change in your environment in your mindset and everything. Just start moving, just continue moving forward. And I think that's a great point. So what is your medicine? What is your choice to get yourself back centered and come back to Sean?
It sounds crazy, but honestly, it was a border collie. I was a big border collie guy and had raised pups to their lifespan. Border collies have about a 14 to 16-year lifespan, and we had one, and then that dog had puppies, and we ended up with a clan of three for a big chunk of my life. And I would take them to the lake and throw them in my Jeep, and we just had this connection. And when they all passed, I was there at the end until I couldn't go any further with each one, and they all died in about a year's span of time. And I wanted that connection again, and I wasn't allowed to have it. Sounds goofy to say it that way, but it's true. I wasn't allowed to. I couldn't get the dog that I really wanted, and that I was able to connect with a border collie when I moved out. And that had been the. I can't think of a better way to heal than a working dog like that, because they make you do things. They make you get up and walk them. They make you kind of. They have border collies
Routine.
want chores, and if they don't give them chores, they'll find chores, and they may not be chores you want them to do. They're just always kind of into things. So the energy from that dog honestly has helped me every day. Still get up in the morning, walk the dog, play with the dog. Just the connection with that animal has been something I missed, honestly, when they all passed. So can't think of a better thing that's helped me this year than that connection to Finn, my border collie. So
Yeah.
Australian border collie mix, but he's a brilliant dog, and I miss that so much. And to have that back in my life, it's been so important to me.
I respect that. I respect my dog just died recently,
It's
just last
hard.
month. And it is a hard process, man, because you're so used to a routine with your animal, with your
Sure.
pet, because it's like your baby, you know what I mean? You've
Yeah.
seen it grown, you were there, you cleaned it, you bathed it, you fed it, you know what I mean? You were always there. So it's hard. It's hard to go through that. And then
Well,
when
I couldn't
you
understand the vets would tell me that people would drop their animals off because they didn't want to go through the emotion of, and I thought that was the scariest thing to be abandoned right when it's dying. So, I mean, being in the room with them and
Yeah.
holding him and making sure he was as calm. They were as calm as they could be as the vet gave them the injection to put them to sleep, and they could stop. They were at ages where their bodies were just breaking down. They couldn't
Mm.
walk and stuff, and we just watched them, and you couldn't let them suffer that kind of life either. So they just
No.
their time. It was their time, but to be there to the end was just necessary, but so draining. And yeah, so I don't envy anybody for that. That's one of the hardest things to deal with in a life full of hard things. It's just hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the way that you did it because I honestly just woke up with morning, called him to come, and he didn't come to me. And I come
Oh,
to pet him, and he's hard as a rock, not moving, not breathing. It chokes me up,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
but it's a sad situation either way because it's death. You know what I mean?
no, I
They no
know.
longer are here. So sorry,
We had a horse. My sister
still
had
very
we had
frustrating.
rescue horses, and I'm in Texas, and we live in the hill country. And she, on her ranch property, had two horses that she took in, and I had no connection to horses other than betting on them when I was, growing up. So to actually get to react to horses and feed them and get in the pen with them and just bond with them was an amazing experience. And they passed. It was such a hard thing. And we just had the last rescue horse pass maybe about 6 weeks ago, and he had died in his sleep. Went to a party and that he was comfortable in and just passed away. And it was age and
Yeah,
time. And I remember it being hard, but I also thought we gave, it was an animal that had been abandoned, and we gave that animal a comfortable place to live and
yeah,
be exist. They were a pair, Wyatt and Doc. They were a matched set of Missouri Foxtrotter horses, white, kind of just
oh,
gorgeous
wow,
animals. And
yeah.
uh, I had no connection to it. And it was another thing I've learned, that just that bond of connecting with animals has been a big thing for me in the hill
Yeah,
country. And that's where I'm at now. And
that's
it's something I'm grateful for.
that's a beautiful thing to experience, most definitely. That's very rare. Not many people can have that. At least be
Oh,
able to have that experience of saving someone, even if it's an animal or any type of animal or just a human being, and just providing them this safe net is just just it's a good feeling because I did that with my when I got my dog. He came from a bad and abused home. He was so timid and scared, like boots scared him, like fast
yeah.
movement scared him. Like he was very timid. And with me, I'm so calm and I'm so patient. Where he just loved me his way. Anyways, oh my goodness, we totally changed the topic. So I am so sorry. So we're wasting time because the time is catching up to us. So what can be some lasting words to wisdom to wrap up the show? I'm so
I mean, it
sorry,
does
y'all.
fit with starting over because I've lived in cities and different countries, and I'm in the country now. Right now, I'm literally in the middle of part of a city, and kind of dealing with your surroundings and rebooting and starting over is not the end of the world. It's actually a beginning of a brand new experience, and it's something I continue to seek out even at my age 55 now. So there's, I think to kind of bring it back to what we were initially talking about, rebuilding. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's anything that anybody should really be afraid of. They should embrace it for what it is, and not cling to the past, honestly, but to move forward into a future is exciting. It's scary, but I love adventures. So there's a big part of a new adventure ahead is always a great feeling.
Exactly. It's that adrenaline, it's that knowing of the what if in the positive directions. And once we start reflecting on that of that adventure, or just like, man, what happened if this could be an amazing experience
Yeah,
instead of dreading the possibility of the horror or what could be wrong, is an amazing gift for people to have because not many people have that ability to do that. So when you're able to tap into that mindset, it truly does change lives. So if ladies and gentlemen,
it's euphoric. It's definitely it's a comfort in its own way, really, to
it
to have that.
is. It's a peace of mind. It's like it's a little hug.
Sure,
It's a little self hug.
it
Anyway,
is.
so if anyone really did enjoy this conversation and would like to know more about Sean and his perspective and what he has to offer the world, because let's be honest, he has a lot of good things to offer the world, especially with his novels coming out. So go check him out. I have his photo. I have access to his website and all of the goodness he has to share to the world. So just click right there and you
Oh,
get
sweet.
all the
Thank you for
access. Yes, of
that.
course. So, with that being said, always, always, always keep thinking, y'all. Bye.